So Nicoline asks, well, you thanked us first for the nice session. Thank you very much. Please discuss the impact of using a call center when the appointed plumbers often require the payment of the excess upfront. We had an instance where the tenant was asked for cash when the plumbers arrived to replace the geyser. She was understandably concerned and taken aback, as the excess is not for the tenant's account. Often owners and managing agents are not aware of this, but it will be important for some sort of process to be in place so that there are no delays in tending to the geyser, because the call center plumbers will not attend to it if the excess is not paid first. Also, to get some sort of receipt or record of this. It is potentially problematic if owners are not resident tenanted, or if they are difficult to get hold of, for example, offshore, different time zones. Okay. You cannot get hold of the owners immediately. How can they pay the upfront excess type of thing? I actually think this is a slightly different question that was asked earlier by Glenda, but I think we can address it because there's a few points there. Some of them I can address, and then some of them that Glenn can comment on, because there's a question there about process. So I think what I'll do is I'll say that largely much the same as we answered Glenda, is that you can't really expect a plumber who's dealing with many bodies corporate, maybe 300 a month or 300 at any one time, to have 300 times excesses outstanding. He would have to add another layer of costs, of the cost of money, maybe as much as an extra 20% charge to accommodate that, if that was to be done. The insurance companies also insist on the money being paid up front. So I think we understand that part, that it must be paid up front. Dealing with the practicalities, though, I'm going to ask Glenn to comment on, because I take your point that, a plumber arriving when there's a tenant there, when perhaps the estate manager had called the plumber and demanding 2,000 Rand, could be a bit rich. So I think Glenn can comment on that, on the processes that they would follow when a call is made, and then perhaps the receipting, so that somebody doesn't just want to hand over 2 grand to find that they've got nothing in return. Okay, so Glenn, maybe you can comment on those 2 points. You're on the ground there.
Okay, so first of all, as we said, the excess is always payable up front. It's specified like that in the policy. And that has to be done based on the fact that we have pre-approval to do whatever we need to do. However, we need to get the excess. That being said, it would be hugely unprofessional for anybody to knock on the door and demand 2,000 Rand in cash excess so that the geyser could be replaced. The right procedure would be to have sent an email with an invoice or a pro forma invoice and a EFT or the likes to be done, so that the excess can be collected in a proper fashion. There's paperwork, there's a paper trail, there's accountability, etc. So a team arriving demanding excess up front would be hugely unprofessional, and there should be the appropriate paperwork, there should be an appropriate invoice, a pro forma, some form of something to validate the process of claiming that excess. You'll be surprised how often we are offered cash and we actually don't want the cash. We want the EFTs. But there should definitely be a paperwork trail beforehand, and I would not be encouraging you to hand over cash to anybody for this process. There has to be paperwork in order to validate the procedure.